Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Bob with Metz Machines. Today we are going to do something a little different. We're going to take a Japa 315 road on the road. So this is the Japa 315 Plus, outfitted with the 12.5 foot outfeed conveyor on it. It's got the mechanical pivot for the conveyor. We've got a log lift on it, and the road package means we got a suspended road axle. We have a 2-inch ball coupler, and we've got a taillight panel on it as well. And I want to show you guys, this is the smallest machine that Japa makes and the smallest road machine that they make, obviously, too. This machine is actually pretty easy to move around, even when it's not hooked to a vehicle. So we're going to have, Ken's going to back the Jeep up here, and you can see I can pick this up here. I think I can even pick it up there. So we're going to get this thing hooked up, and all you need is a small SUV, something that can pull. This is about 2,000 pounds as it sits in this configuration. So you really don't need anything super heavy. You don't need to have a big truck, not even a half-ton, three-quarter-ton. I mean, so this is kind of cool. We wanted to show it being pulled with the Jeep. It's a Jeep Cherokee, for example. This is our marketing guy's vehicle, and we're actually going to his house to process a few logs. We just thought it'd make kind of a fun trip and a fun video. He had some trees taken down, what, like a month ago? 2 months ago? Longer than that. They already started seasoning. So we're going to go down there today. We're going to see what we can run through the processor. We're going to take this thing down the highway, probably about 25 miles from here, something like that. Okay. Well, Ken's backing the Jeep up, so we'll get this thing hooked up here. Now the nice part is we got right there. Since this machine is the way it is, I can just pick it up here, set it on, and we will hook up the chains here. I do need to get a safety pin for the coupler before we hit the road. And standard 4-pin connector on this one. So we're going to plug this in to the 4-pin section on the car side. Then this jack has 2 modes of adjustment. Right now we can turn this to bring the jack into its assembly, and then we can loosen this here, pull that up like that, tighten it back, and now we're set. Ken, why don't you pull forward, get it just out of the building. All right, like I said, one more thing, very important, put your safety pin into the hitch coupler. A regular padlock will fit through here too, but for our drive today, we're not really worried about anybody walking away with it. Now this can't open in transport. All right, we can see the light panel is already working, but all right, Ken, that's good. Put her in park. Okay, can you turn on the parking lights? Okay, we've got parking lights, and there's side markers on it. And now do left signal. Okay, left turn signal, right turn signal. Hit the brakes. Okay, we've got all of our lights. So we are ready to hit the road with this Japa 315 road. All right, guys, so I am on the freeway right now pulling the Japa 315 road. You can see bounces just a little bit back there, but it does, like I said, have suspended road axles, so the machine is at least not shaking and abusing itself as we go over these bumps and stuff like that. Now, I think the owner's manual says to go about 45. We're going a bit faster than that, so I can't recommend that, but I can tell you that it's pulling straight and there is no sway with the trailer at all. And that's really nice. And one of the things I want to point out with that is that the road versions, we always recommend to have the log lift on it, and there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, it's fully usable when we get to the job site. So the Japa 365 with the road package and a log lifter, and this 315 with the road package and log lifter. Now when we get to our destination, we can unhook it from the vehicle, put out the conveyor and the log lift, and we've got a fully functional setup. Unfortunately, we don't have any processors that have a built-in log rack. That is something that I would like to see, and I know that some of our customers would like to see that as well, and I can't say that that is out of the picture for future machines. That is something that I think in the future we will end up with. I don't know which machines would all include the racks. We can't use a powered rack with a 315, so we use the log lifter or we use a basic rack, but really 315 road with the log lifter on it is really a sweet machine. And as long as you've got stuff you're doing that's 12-inch and under, it's awesome. And you can pull it behind, like this is a small SUV. This is a Jeep Cherokee with the V6 engine, and I'm gonna look to see what we're getting for fuel economy. So it looks like we're sitting right about 20 miles to the gallon, which is honestly pretty good. Now we are on the freeway, we're flat, you know, relatively flat, but it's nice that, you know, it doesn't feel like it's not bogging the vehicle down. If I needed to accelerate to get on the on-ramp, I needed to go through intersections and stuff like that, it's really not putting a strain on the vehicle. So that's one of the things to talk about with these machines. And a 365 Pro Road version would weigh probably another 500 pounds more than this, maybe 6. So that fuel economy I don't think would be affected much more than it is right now. But we've got probably about 20 minutes of driving yet, and then we're gonna get this thing set up at Ryan's place and make some firewood. All right, guys, we are on site at Ryan's place, and we pulled the Jeep into the backyard with the 315 behind it. Now, this is kind of another point too. This is a tight area, and we didn't tear up the yard at all coming in here. And with the small vehicle like this, pulling the small processor, it's really low footprint and it's kind of easy to manage. So what we're gonna do is unhook the processor now. You can see the pile of wood that he's got here. We're gonna sort through, we're gonna do all the small little stuff first. Probably actually utilize my hands as the log lift, my arms as the log lift for some of this stuff. And then as we get to the bigger pieces, we're gonna see what all we can put through. Now there is gonna be some stuff here that's too big for this machine. And we figured that would be the case before we even started this project. But I think the majority of this is gonna go through it. And yeah, so I'm gonna take this off and I'll show you guys how to remove it from the vehicle. So first I'm gonna drop this. Now I want the processor to be kind of level, so that's why I'm not setting this completely on the ground yet, because I want to be able to come up past the point, and then I'm going to want to be able to lower it back. So now with this, touch the ground, I can pull this pin, open that up, put the pin back here for storage, unhook the chains. And now I can go up here, and actually I'm going to grab a couple small pieces of wood here for a chock. All right, so we will grab some tire chocks. Do that both ways. That way it can't roll forward or back. Okay, now I'll finish cranking this up. And then the next step is going to be to get the Jeep out of the way. So I'm going to pull this forward. All right, so you can see that we're way not level now. So I'm going to bring this back down until we get to an almost level point. What are you thinking, Ryan? I actually want to bring the nose down a little bit farther, and then I will put the support legs down here. Put that tight against the ground, tighten it. Since I'm back here, I am going to pull the pin for the light panel and get this out of the way. And then we can store the pin here, and we can put this through there. Now I'm going to push up on this jack again. I'm going to put some pressure on those back drop legs, give it a few cranks, then I will drop these front legs, tighten that up. And then I'll set a little bit of weight down on these front legs. So now all four legs are in the ground, and you can see when I shake this, we don't have much movement. So the next steps will be to take the log lifter down. Now we had some zip ties in place here for transit, but we'll take care of that in a minute here. Pull this pin. The log lifter on the 315 here has a hydraulic, not hydraulic, a gas charged lift strut, they would call it. So that is helping me lower this. So you can see as I bring this down here, that was pretty easy to do. I'll flip this like that. There's a zip tie there, and I don't think I can break it. It's a pretty big one, so I'll have to grab something to cut that in a minute. But this pin we'll put back here for storage. And now we've got a safety catch here for the infeed. So we'll bring the infeed down. We watch the saw handle there, make sure we're not binding on that. And infeed's down. Now we will do the outfeed. So we've got a safety chain here that rests there. That keeps the conveyor, just in case something would happen to these cables in transport. That's an extra safety provision there. Then there's a pin here. Take that out, put it in your pocket. Don't forget about it. It's been done. Okay. You can go lower to the ground too, but this is about the height that I do it at. I'll grab this and come back around this side. All right. We've got a chain that goes across here for transport. That just keeps the belt from falling out the bottom of the conveyor. And then that pin that was in my pocket, that will go through over here now. And now I'll crank this back up. There you have it. We are ready to start the engine, make some firewood. Except for that zip tie. We'll cut that zip tie quick. we just finished up processing with the 315, and I've got these logs below me that we can't run through the machine. There's actually one of them we could run this one through the machine, but I wanted to use this as an example. And without offending too many people, I want to touch on the garbage in, garbage out theory that I myself have, and I know a lot of other people in the firewood industry do as well. When you're using a processor, you got to try and have really as straight as possible, and I don't care if it's one of our machines or, you know, a big $200,000 circle saw machine. The straighter the log, the easier it is, the quicker you can be with your processing. Now, I know that every market does not allow that to happen, right? So I can't speak for everybody, and I can only speak from my own experience, but I can tell you that the logs that we get back at our yard, we buy them in pulp log form. They come in 100-inch lengths. They're relatively straight. We're very blessed to be able to have that opportunity. We're in northern Wisconsin. Again, I know that you can't do this in every market, but I can tell you that this tree service wood today that we just did was a hassle, because some of it was cut 3 foot long, some of it was cut 7 foot long. The limbs were not cut off like flush with the logs themselves, and a lot of the stuff was crooked, of course. A lot of that stuff was destined for the chipper, but we wanted to do this video. So a couple of annoyances I've had today with running the machine was we had a lot of logs that were cut like this, and so sometimes these would go into the machine, and then this would sit on top of the log stopper. And at one point even I stalled out the machine because the log fell back and pinched the chainsaw. So I had to go back and restart the machine. There was a lot of messing around. Actually, let's walk over to the pile. There was a lot of messing around with the smaller stuff as well, and like this type of stuff, you know. And a lot of people wouldn't even split this, but we wanted to try to cut and split everything that we could. This is all maple, and this is going to make nice firewood. But you know, a couple of my other complaints would be that I didn't have my cookie tote here, so I had to make everything kind of different lengths. So, you know, we strived for 16-inch, but we ended up going to, some stuff would end up coming out of their 20-inch, and then some stuff we would end up splitting the difference, so I'd make like 2 10-inch pieces. It's all going to burn the same. That's not an issue, but it does become a hassle when you're stacking it, right? Because, you know, you almost have to have everything stacked by size. But I would say, I wouldn't call this garbage going in, but you can see how a lot of the stuff, like I said, was crooked, had weird knots and stuff off of it that if somebody was harvesting this for the pulp market or that type of thing, we would have had much nicer quality logs going into the machine. And that brings me to another point. I know that I've had a couple of friends that did mobile firewood processing, and I know that there is money to be had in that. But you got to be really careful when you talk to the customer about, hey, I'm going to come over with my machine. They tell you everything is 12-inch diameter and under, or whatever. We had a 12-inch and under machine. You got to be careful if you're going to bill it by hour, by cord, or what, because you don't know what you're going to get yourself into. So today's, you know, if all this log length would have been just 100-inch long logs, we would have been done probably in a third of the amount of time that we were messing with all of this. So these are just some points that I've thought of, and you know, you can let us know in the comments too, you know, what your thoughts are on this stuff. But like I said, we are lucky to be able to get the wood that we can get at our yard back at the warehouse, and even if you have to pay extra to get some stuff that's more straight, your production goes up substantially. It's totally worth it. So we're done with this now. We are going to fold the processor back up, hook it up to the Jeep, and head back to the warehouse. We're headed back to the warehouse now from Ryan's place with the 315. Again, I have to say, it pulls behind this Jeep like it's not there. Going down it tracks down the highway straight, and I had no problem getting on the on-ramp a while back. I guess we could have done an acceleration video with the Jeep, but I don't know if Ryan would have been up for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that we were able to show you some more real world. I know that is something that comes up a lot, where, you know, our real world back at our warehouse with the logs that we have there is different from your real world where you may be. So this was tree service wood that was just dropped in the yard, and like I said, Ryan wanted to just keep it for a video, and now he's got a good stash of firewood to use in his fire pit in the backyard. And that was maple. And again, it was, you know, somewhat of a challenge. A lot of it was different lengths. A lot of it had weird diagonal cuts, knots, and some twigs sticking off of it. So it was a good, I think it was a good demonstration of showing the 315 with less than optimal wood. Now I think that there were a couple logs left at the end. We might have been able to get those into a 365. They were right on the edge of going into the 315. So we just figured instead of trying to muscle up that big log, get it up there, and then not have it fit in, we just left them aside. But I think Ryan's gonna do something with those the old-fashioned way. So anyway, if you like this style of video, let us know. We're trying to do some more content with different woods, different scenarios using the machines. We've got a 365 road we could do the same thing with. What I'd really like to do is get to somewhere that's got a load of pulp logs dropped, you know, and bring a machine like a 365 road there and see how many hours it would take us to do what a truckload is here. And a truckload here is probably 10, 11 cords, maybe 12, depending on how it's stacked and what's going on there. But if you want to see any of the pricing and configuration on all the machines that we offer, you can check out our website. We keep everything live there with the pricing, the options, and most of it, the stock level is there too. But always ask us. It's never a problem for you to reach out via email or phone. Let us know what you're looking for, and we'll do our best to get you set up and making firewood.